This is one of the hardest reviews I've ever had to do, mostly because I freaking love Samurai Jack. Welcome all fellow wannabes, welcome to the channel. I am Gabriel Fast. I do claim to be the wannabe critic. Today we're doing another game review. We are doing Samurai Jack Battle Through Time. This just came out about a week ago, and I finally have played through it. I have played it to its completion. And I got some stuff to say, for sure. Little backstory for you. I've always been a kid who liked to stay up late, and every Friday night I'd go over to my grandma's house, and I would always stay up way too late, and every single Friday, Samurai Jack came on, like, right around, like, 11:30 to midnight, and sometimes they would have more episodes that would show, you know, that they would, like, do a marathon, you know what I mean? Man, those were the days. So I just grew up with the show, and I've always loved it, and of course we're reviewing it on the podcast. Link is down in the description below if you want to check that out. And it really not only, you know, made such an impact on me, but just made such an impact on such a big group of people during that time, and really has kind of lived in infamy ever since, which is probably why we have a video game now, which does in fact continue the story of Samurai Jack. And I gotta be honest, this review, it's gonna be a lot to unpack. So let's go ahead and roll the review, and then I'll kind of give my final thoughts afterwards. So Samurai Jack Battle Through Time is published by Adult Swim Games as well as developed by Soleil, and it tells the story that we're all too familiar with. The foolish samurai warrior going up against the personification of evil and destruction himself, Aku. Now, Samurai Jack Battle Through Time does a pretty good job of actually adding to the lore and continuing the story of Samurai Jack. It's worth noting that pretty much all of the original voice cast from all the familiar faces that we know and love did in fact return to do this game. And loyal fans of the series are definitely going to be in love with the story that this game has to tell while revisiting a lot of familiar places and seeing a lot of familiar faces. Damongo makes several long and drawn-out appearances. Ooh, and they even got this guy to show up.
Ooh, you got the main and the front scruff to boot. I dig it, babe.
The cinematics aren't the only thing that look incredible. The worlds that you traverse as Samurai Jack are pretty cool. As you slice and dice your way through the various worlds, you really feel like you're living inside the cartoon that you watched as a kid. It's a really satisfying feeling, and it really does look great. The game really makes you feel like you're on the same path as Jack. A vast array of collectibles, weapons, as well as upgradable abilities gives you plenty of things to do inside of the game, which is a really, really nice touch. A closer look at the skill tree really makes you see that they want you to play this game through and try and get every ability, because I don't think you can do it with one playthrough alone. Which warrants the question, am I going to play this game anymore? The answer is probably not. While the swordplay and slicing through beetles can be gratifying, it gets old after about the first 3 levels. I found myself rushing through almost every single level because I just wanted to advance the story. I just wanted to see what was going to happen to Jack. I wasn't playing it because it was necessarily fun. Now, I'm not saying that every encounter is just boring and repetitive. There are times where you're just absolutely shredding through hordes of enemies, and it is a lot of fun. You feel like a freaking baller. It was only a little too late whenever I realized that I should have been playing the game on easy from the beginning, because you pretty much have that experience throughout the entire game if you play on that difficulty, saving yourself quite a bit of frustration. And it somewhat begs the question, is the average gamer going to just automatically play this game on easy mode? And I'm going to say no. The average gamer is going to play this game on normal difficulty and probably be really, really frustrated with their experience, just like I was. Why? While I am going to remember how cool this game looked and how cool it felt to finally have a proper Samurai Jack game, I'm also not going to forget that in my personal experience, a majority of the encounters I had in the game felt PS2 era-ish at best. And that's not trying to be mean. The camera at times was the biggest enemy. I would almost break my controller in frustration because the camera was just that bad in some areas. That, coupled with the fact that the way that you get damaged sometimes just doesn't really make sense. For instance, whenever you're trying to recover, there's a really good chance that that'll probably be canceled by an enemy's heavy attack. Also, I noticed whenever I would be jumping, I would jump and a ground attack would knock me out of the air. Now look, I didn't go into this experience expecting a AAA level, delivery from Soleil and from Adult Swim games. But I also didn't expect the game to feel like a remaster of something that could have come out 15 years ago. With that being said, I'm glad that Jack's story got a continuation, and I'm glad that we got this instead of nothing. And I know that people are really, really going to love this game, simply because the story is pretty good. But in the end, I don't think the gameplay, which is the thing that I was looking most forward to, is really innovative in any way, and if anything, takes a step back in time instead of forward. So as you can see, there's a lot in that review to kind of unpack. Does the game look good? Yes, it looks great. Is the sound good? The sound design is impeccable. It's amazing. They're using the same sounds, a lot of the same sounds that they used back in the day in the TV show. Not to mention, every time you use Jack's sword, it is the sword sound. Like, that's what it sounds like. I don't for 1 second think that I'm not in the same world as Samurai Jack. So in terms of that, they nailed that. Is the story good? Yes, the story is great. It continues the story, the epic story through time that Samurai Jack is. They did a great job with that. So what's my biggest complaint? The gameplay just isn't there for me, which is frustrating because I know a lot of people really love that Ninja Gaiden style of gameplay. It's just not there for me. It is so repetitive, and the boss encounters and really the Demongo encounters, like, those just are so irritating for me. I'm salty about this game. I had to come to terms with the fact that while I didn't personally care for the gameplay, I know for a fact that there are people out there that love this style of gameplay and that really connect with that style of gameplay. The gameplay found here just really wasn't for me, and that's okay. I don't have to like the gameplay in every single game that I play. I play some games just for the story alone. I just want to be in that world. But it did come down to one of those things where it did feel like, to me, the game did feel a bit dated. And again, it is $40. Does the game warrant that $40 price tag? That's debatable. I don't think that there's a yes or no answer, because for me, no. I wish I would have waited for sale, but I wanted to play it, I wanted to play it pretty much the day it came out. So in the end, I guess this review is just me saying that while the gameplay wasn't really there for me, the story made up for it in a lot of ways, along with, feeling like a kid again in a lot of ways. I think Soleil did a really good job of executing what they wanted to do, even though it wasn't really for me, if that makes sense. In the end, I'm going to give this game a B-. I went from a C- originally after I beat the game, sat on it, was editing the footage, thinking about it for a couple of hours, really, really drinking it in. And then I came to the conclusion that it's okay for me to not like a game's gameplay and really to still acknowledge that there's a lot of really good things about the game. So what did you think of the game? Did you enjoy the review? Did I make sense? I'm always worried about if I make sense. I'm always worried about contradicting myself, and this video is really hard because it's like, did you like it? Yes and no. But anyways, leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's talk about this. Are you going to pick this game up? I think you should wait for a sale. I don't think this game is for everybody, but I do think the people who really like this style of game are really going to like it. Anyways, I've talked enough. Thank you so much for watching and stopping by, and thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the wannabe critic.